And welcome to another episode of 50 Shades in Grey, which I can guess is the Christmas edition. So thank you for joining me. It's Christmas Eve right now as I'm doing this. So as you can see, we're just going out for a little bit of dinner. And it's one of the only times that I actually wear a suit. So I quite enjoy that. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about in this episode was about Christmas, the expectations of Christmas, because I've been speaking to so many people this year, and so many of them have said, and due to social media, really, about the expectation of Christmas now. What you expected to do, where you expected to go, what you expected to eat. And I'm hosting this year. I have my family here. And I don't know about you guys, but I have watched probably 40 TikTok, Instagram videos about cooking carrots. You put this expectation that everything, which at the end of the day is kind of like a bit of a glorified roast dinner, but we make it into this massive banquet where we're buying all this stuff that we're never going to use, and probably I'll leave half of it in the fridge and I'll forget it. And now I've got to, tonight when I get home, sear lamb and put it in a slow cooker and do all these things to vegetables that probably vegetables don't want done to them anyway. But you go, it's a little bit like when you go on holiday, you feel like this pressure to do so much at Christmas. And I think for a lot of parents out there as well, there's this expectation of what it all should look like because everyone's posting these videos of themselves sort of doing crafts with the kids on a Tuesday. And, we're going to pick strawberries and we're going to make our own homemade cranberry. And this is what we're doing. When in reality, you're probably running around after your kids in a shopping centre, telling them to get off stuff, put stuff back, trying to get them into the car while getting all the bags in, fighting for the last toy that, is the in toy year. And then you're going onto your phones and then you're seeing this idyllic Christmas time when everything is delivered from Marks and Spencer's, where it's all prepared for you, where everything is done and everything is calm, and you're not still up at 1:30 in the morning wrapping presents for someone that you barely ever see in your life. You're now sort of floating around having a glass of champagne and everything's great. And you should be in Lapland. That's where you should be this time of year. You should be in Lapland because that's where everyone goes. And everyone's at these beautiful places surrounded by snow and sledding. And, and the reality is that for most of us, we're in grey drizzle fighting with some bloke in Sainsbury's over the last cracker or piece of paper that you're going to wrap someone's present in. And I think that, Christmas growing up, I remember Christmas as being so different. Christmases seem less complicated, probably because we were kids, right? I'm sure the kids would say this when they grow up, that Christmases used to be less complicated. But I remember my nan, because we lived with my nan actually didn't decorate the house till Christmas Eve, and she'd do it once we went to bed. Everyone used to make their own decorations. It used to be tinsel everywhere, those paper chains that she'd spend hours and hours making. And you used to come down in the morning and it looked magical. It wasn't magical, but it looked magical when you were sort of 7 or 8. But in reality, it was a load of coat hangers covered in tinsel with baubles hanging off them. But it was everywhere. It was like you couldn't see tree for tinsel and baubles and fairies. But it was, and now it's, my tree behind me. I try so hard with my tree to make it look stylish because I see, and I haven't achieved it. Don't tell me I've not achieved it. I know I've not achieved it. But you see these things on Instagram of where it's like the tree's perfect. It's like a 15-foot tree in a sweeping hallway and stairs going up that have got ivy trailing along it. That's not the reality. The reality is I'm going to dinner in about 20 minutes and I've literally just finished cleaning the whole of my house, trying to make it look presentable for everyone that comes tomorrow. Knowing full well they're only going to be here for 10 minutes and it's going to look crap again. There's going to be stuff on the floors. This is the only time my house looks tidy, when it's about to get untidy, because I do it when people are coming. But in terms of our relationships, I think, you know, Christmas is a magnifying time for love because it's everywhere, isn't it? Love is all around us at Christmas. It's rom-coms, the guy gets the girl, or the couple get back together, or they find the love that they've been searching for forever. Really, it can be you're meeting someone else on a date, another dating app disaster that, you're going to listen to another guy or another girl tell you how they lost their partner at Christmas, and it's dreadful, which it is, but you don't want to hear about that when you're just meeting someone. Save that for later on in the relationship if it ever goes anywhere. You just want to feel sometimes at Christmas that you're not alone, and I think that's the most important thing that I've learned about Christmas. It's because right now, I'm going to be honest, I don't feel Christmassy one iota, not a single bit. Hopefully I will do, but at the moment I don't. But I'm looking forward to spending time with my family because this year I've got my brother back from New York, and my other brother is coming over Boxing Day as well. And my mum's here as well. And realistically, especially when you get to midlife and things happen so quickly, you never know. And I never know in my situation when we're all going to be together again. You know, th- Hopefully not. But this could be the last time that the four of us sit around a table together. And it does it. It makes me quite emotional because that's what I'm going to be thinking about tomorrow. No, not all day in a depressive way. Obviously, I'll be thinking about it as I'm getting drunk on champagne and arguing with the rest of my family, telling them how much I hate them and why they don't do anything for me, which they do, obviously. But yeah, they're the things that these times are, you don't know how many there are. I was thinking, and my son said to me the other day, he said, the probability is that you four will get together might only happen another 4 or 5 times before you're not there, one of you's not there anymore. And it is like, you do think, geez, and when you look at it that way, it does make you want to stay away from the political arguments that often happen at Christmas and all the "why didn't you do this for me when I was growing up" arguments, because we all see things a different way. I think that's the important thing about Christmas is it's recognizing time. It's not about the presents. I know it is, kids, for you. It's all about the presents, but it's not, because we've stopped buying presents now for each other because what do you want? What do you need? I don't want someone to buy me something I don't need and that I'm going to have to keep somewhere and never use it. I've got cupboards full of stuff that I don't use, and I'm a hoarder, which I hate. But I've got stuff going back forever, So this suit being one of them. I just we don't need any more stuff. And if you want stuff, you buy it. It's like there was loads of stuff that I needed to put on this Christmas, but I went out and bought it all, and that's what you do. And I was thinking, oh, I could have asked for this for Christmas, but you want stuff when you want it. It's very seldom you get to Christmas. I think with partners and your husband and your wife, it's nice and you can do things. But I find that a lot of people now are buying tickets to something because it's an experience that again you can all do together, and that'd be a great thing to do at Christmas instead of buying a present. Say, right, we're going to do this again soon, and here's the date. This is what we're doing. We're doing this restaurant, this event, and we're all doing it because you might take those few occasions that you've got left together, you might add one more into them, which is always nice. But for those of you that are finding that Christmas is a bit of a trigger for emotional times, because lots of things at Christmas, especially, is a time to reflect because you're getting towards an end of a year. You're getting towards starting a clean slate, and you sometimes look back over things that have happened in this year or previous years. But Christmas does that. It makes you reflect on a lot of things. Your relationships, or your love life, your relationships that could have been, your relationships that you're in now. Divorce rate in January goes up quite a lot because people get to Christmas, and these are the times that I think they're pressurized times when you're running around. In Sainsbury's today, went there, and you can see people just stressed out, getting stuff, getting this, getting that, having arguments, and about absolute stupid crap. And these these cracks that are maybe small cracks all year suddenly start to become like big crevices and then turn into canyons by Christmas Day. And I know through a lot of people that I've spoken to that have come out of relationships, Christmas time was one of those times that when they really thought, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to do this anymore with this person. And that's been one of the times when they've realized that they want something new, but they want to start something new. So it can be a trigger for that. It can also be a trigger for those that look back upon people that they've lost and they yearn for them to be there again. That love that they've lost, whether it be a family member or a loved one, and they miss those times where those great times that they spent together, that where Christmases were great to them. And I think also Christmas does that to people. It gives them a time where they're allowed to miss those times of love. They're allowed to miss those people that made those moments special. And they're looking at new moments, maybe with new people, or maybe you're looking at what's in store for you next. And we spoke about that again a lot, where we said, especially if you're single, the most exciting thing about being single is your life's not over. You don't know what's going to happen. And life is about moments, I think. There's those moments in life that make you sit up and take notice. They make you laugh. There is moments that make you cry, but life is about great moments. And the more great moments that are in your life, the luckier you will be. And the luckier you've been, I guess, for those that have had so many great moments. And they're not moments that are made maybe in Lapland, or moments that are made in sort of crafts and all these other great things that you think people are doing. Moments are made in just like those little times where you sit back and you watch something and you think, this is great. For me, it'll be tomorrow. Like I said, with my two brothers, and they're the moments that you're never going to be able to replace. You can't buy. You can buy a holiday at Lapland or wherever it is you may want to go to, the North Pole. But there's moments where you're all together in a room and they're hard to get back once they're gone. So for me, that's what I'm going to enjoy tomorrow. And I hope all you guys have that fun as well and have those moments where you just sort of sit back and go, yeah, whether that's watching your kids or watching your family's kids all together and all the cousins and whatever it may be. And for those of you that are spending Christmas tomorrow on your own, the other thing to remember is one day. Christmas is one day, and it could be any day. I realised tonight when I was doing all this, I was thinking, oh God, I bet everyone's out. It's Christmas Eve, and I bet everyone's out in the afternoon having drinks, which I've done before when I've had no responsibilities because I'm going to someone else's house. Then I thought, but there's going to be loads of those moments. Those moments happen all the time in the summer. I literally can do that every weekend. It's just one day because we build Christmas into this thing that it is magical and it is special. But it's more magical and special for kids because it's the Santa Claus belief. It's all that magic of presents and wrapping. And as you get older, and once that all goes, you tend to look at the more simplistic things. And, you know, Christmas is one day. That's all it is. It's one day where it's a great day, but it could be any Sunday. It could be any Sunday dinner. It could be any roast dinner. So if you are on your own, guys, then enjoy that time where you're not arguing with people and you're not wishing that someone hadn't bought you a jumper or, realizing that you'd forgot something and forgot this and that. And I hope you have a great day. So I just wanted to say, as we're getting close towards the end of the year, thank you for all your support. Thank you for your wishes and thank you for following. We're really looking forward to next year, another series of the podcast, and we've got some great guests lined up. And keep supporting, keep following, keep driving the numbers up. And we was in the top 10% this year of podcasts. So he's great. It's a really great achievement. And then I realised I could be in the top 10% of a million, which then doesn't seem to mean that great. It doesn't seem to be a lot, but it's still the top 10%, right? So thank you for following 50 Shades of Grey. I hope you enjoy it. More relationship stuff next year, more dating. We'll get you all out there dating. Let me hear about your stories. Let me hear about your triumphs. Let me hear about your disasters, and we'll talk about them on here. But have a great day tomorrow. Enjoy your Christmas and catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye bye.